Chapter 14, the best laid plans. Let's do this. I think we're actually going to finish this original 2019 run this session. Also, I've decided, I think, that I actually really like how batshit insane a lot of the stuff that's happening is. Because I was thinking about this and how this is actually kind of cool. I don't know if it's intentional. I assume it is. It seems intentional. Where everything that's happening for the most part is actually fairly normal with, Dave Bot and Radia, with Rose and Dirk on their planet, with the spaceship that, Dave and Karkat and all of them are on. Everything is fairly normal. The only place where things are getting off the rails and absolutely batshit crazy is Earthsea. And there's something about that I actually kind of like, because it makes Earthsea specifically feel like this cursed planet that is just destined to get more and more perverted, or not perverted in the sort of traditional sense of the word, of just a perverse version of itself. It just is constantly devolving more and more, and it's this veneer of normalcy and quiet suburban life and symbols of democracy and all this stuff that hide this writhing monster of a planet that cannot be contained and just infects everything it touches. And then the further the characters get away from that planet, the more things seem to return to a state of normal. And I don't know, something about that is actually kind of really cool. So anyway, chapter 14. Back at Roxy's house. Oh, we got another 2 dialogue page. I'll start over here with Harry and John. Oh my god, I'm wiped. I haven't felt this happy to be plastered to a couch in forever. Are you? Wow, I feel like I'm barely keeping myself sitting. If it weren't for keeping you kids safe, I'd be out there right now. Well, we did just do a whole lot of running around for no good reason, and some of us aren't gods and shit. I'm detecting a hint of judgment in your voice there, Harry Anderson. Don't you enjoy being a part of all this? Finally getting to the thick of it all? I mean, I was having a fine time at school, if I'm being honest. All this terrassing back and forth between my home and various points of interest over the past few days has me pretty beat. Also, I wouldn't call this the thick of it all. Ugh, getting air quotes by my own son. We had to hide in the Forsythia bush on the way back here when the drone flew by. That's the thick of father-son hijinks if I ever saw it. Well, modern-day war hijinks, but I'll take what I can get, Yeah, I guess. I'm not knocking on the old adrenaline thrill or helping out Vrissy's mom or anything. I'm just saying I was literally here and you told me to leave. So I hope this is where we're going to park it for a minute. Boy's got to breathe. Yeah, well, this wasn't my plan either. But Rose sent out some false intel about heading towards my house. So technically, this is the safest place we can be right now since they cleared the area and everything. I guess. What? Now you look like you're hiding something extra commentary. Hiding some extra commentary. Oh, I don't need to burden you with all the bureaucratic stuff. It's boring. Well, now hold up, Dad. A minute ago, you were all, we're in the fight together, and now you're backing out of sharing the details? It's not really, am I part of this or not? Well, I'd sure say you were. But I guess maybe my thoughts on what is or isn't right for the operation aren't up to snuff. Because here I am, sitting in the dugout, same as you. In the dugout? Or, what's a metaphor you might like better? No. I'm like the, understudy. Dad, no, Jesus, you don't have to do this. Or I got cast as babysitter number 2 when I had auditioned for, I don't know. Yeah, please, I got the baseball metaphor. I'm not a complete fucking nerd. Oh, I see. I was just like acknowledging that we've been sidelined here. Not that I mind personally, since like I said, I am super stoked to be relaxing on the couch and not fighting a war. Plus, I wouldn't have been able to get your measurements for some clothes that actually fit you if we hadn't come back here where all my sewing stuff is. But it seemed like you were getting pretty into everything back there with Rose and them, getting to be with the old crew and everything, like the stories you told me about the game. Yeah, that sucks. I had a good plan too. Just wasn't good enough for Karkat, I guess. I'm just not as experienced enough in combat strategy. Oh, so now you're throwing the air quotes back at me. No, those are for Karkat. Oh, okay then, fair game. Look at us, bantering away. That is a plus of being here, at least. It's been really nice to get to spend so much time with you. Yeah, it's not so bad. Anyway, before you ruffle my hair or anything, looks like things are getting a bit heated between the Vriskas over there. Maybe we should offer them a snack to bring the mood back down? Me? Mess up your hair when you've worked so hard on that look? I do know you at least that well, Harry Anderson. Thank God. Hey, Vriska? Are you okay? Just, you've been kind of quiet. Oh? So you actually want to know what I'm thinking now? You want my opinion? Yes? I'm not really sure what's going on right now. What? I just was wondering why you're so pissed off at me. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm not pissed at you. You haven't done shit basically at all since I've been here. I just can't believe I'm back stuck in this tacky rumpus block after all that. I'm gonna look like an idiot if I don't get out there. I don't think anybody's gonna notice. I guess you did go viral, but the news moves so fast these days, I don't think anybody's like glued to their phones waiting for the new hashtag resistance content. We could do something if you wanted. Huh? If you're bored? This isn't my house, but Harry has video games and movies and shit. Actually, we're probably better off not watching his movies. His taste is worse than his dad's. No, I don't want to watch a fucking movie. How the fuck can you think about movies? How are you okay with any of this? Any of what? Being left at home like a couple of dribbling wigglers. How are you so calm right now? You're loose eye, we're training you, right? And you're a troll. You're definitely 5 times stronger than a human. And if you're my clone, you are way more badass than Little Miss Fuzzy Fangs. I can't believe you just stayed behind. Well, they told me to, and they're my mom's. And you just listen to everything they say? No, not really. I used to sneak out a lot, and they'd absolutely flip their shit if they ever got to see my search history. But I guess this situation is kind of serious. There's a whole plan and stuff like that. Clearly not a good plan, because then I would be part of it. What's the point of even coming to this shitty fake reality if I'm not supposed to fix it? I think they've got a strategy or whatever. That's just even more indication that they don't know what they're doing. Lalonde and Miriam have had however many sweeps to get older and stupider, but from where I'm standing, it was literally only a few days ago that I was their commander. I'm primed for the battlefield. I ran their shit. Wait, really? They never told me that. I thought you said you knew some lore. You know about Tavros and Terezi, you told me you do. Yeah, they told me about that stuff, but a lot of the shit that happened in the session is just not in the history books. You weren't really mentioned that much. Excuse me? People know who you are, because we had to memorize the names of every one of the players, even the ones who didn't last very long. You're trying to tell me that there's a whole recorded history of Scrub, and I'm not in it. You're not in it. I guess they mostly focused on the creators who ascended, you know? Whoever was school feeding you was a complete bulge sucker because I ascended before any of the humans did. Literally billions of years before, since our session was the one that created theirs. I was the one who guided John's buffoonish blue ass all the way through his first few days in the medium. I made all the plans to take down the Jacks. I single-handedly cured your motherfucking alcoholism. Or your mother's fucking alcoholism. Vrishka? Everything okay over there? Everything's fine, John. Okay. You girls want a snack? Yeah, actually, a snack sounds great. Oh, yeah, actually, a snack sounds great, Mr. Egbert. I'm not sure what we've got. I don't actually live here. Vriska, eat whatever. And just not the zebra cakes, those are mine. So anyway, as you can see, this would have worked out just fine. No, I think Karkat's right. This looks like shit, Dad. You know, me letting your earlier use of the word fuck slide wasn't a blanket approval for all cursing in front of me. Sorry. Tried not to make such a shit plan and I won't call it that. Wow. It's not like I think I'm any better. I mean, I still can't believe I told Vrissy and them to bring a dead celebrity to school. What was I thinking? You were thinking it sounded hilarious. But yeah, in hindsight, maybe not the best call. Maybe it's genetic. Yeah. I kind of can't believe we're all still alive, actually. And how did you make it this far, being so bad at this? I have my friends with me, I guess. They are silent for a bit. John doesn't want to go on a reminiscing jaunt, which Harry Anderson stopped finding impressive a few years ago. Plus, they haven't really had time to talk about what happened with Dave yet, and he doesn't want to tank the mood by bringing him up. The rapport they've built feels good, stronger than he expected. He'd spent so long seeing mostly the best parts of Roxy and Harry Anderson. He forgot he guesses to look for himself in there too. And if what they have in common right now is a lack of strategic foresight, hey, he'll take it. Speaking of friends, I will say the snacks were a good call at least. I don't hear any more screaming anyway. See? That's one good plan between the two of us. Oh, that was definitely them leaving, wasn't it? Hey, Iffy. Oh. Well, isn't this just heartwarming? The prodigal, I don't know. What is that? Prodigal daughter returned to the loving bosom of her family. Oh, is this one of those rare and marvelous beasts, the villain speech? I've written one or two in my time. I'm on the edge of my seat. I hope it's better than your political material. I've always found that rather trite. I haven't given a political speech in years, Miss Lalonde. I don't know what you're referring to. I'm just a simple businesswoman. Right, with her own talk show and multi-billion-dollar merchant company and lobbying groups. That's what a businesswoman is, Jade dear. But enough of that. I'll skip straight to the point. You are on my territory, in the presence of my secret police, laying your hand on my investment. You think I come anywhere unprepared? I haven't left the house without an armed guard in years. It is the libidinous power rush. Or is it the libidinous power rush that comes from snapping your fingers at men with guns? Or are you worried that you might accidentally do something heroic? Your ship is in contested airspace. You will land, whereby it will be confiscated by the Royal Human Guard. After that, you will be taken into custody. All of you. Let's call it a family vacation, shall we? How could you be any more full of yourself? Shut the fuck up for a minute and look up. What's up? Also, do all the... Uh-oh. I just want to go back real quick. Do all of the human guards look like Dave? Why do they all look like Dave? They have Tavros. course, I don't think they would actually like do anything to him to hurt him. This is the cool panel because like it really emphasizes the vampireness of Kanaya. Like this just straight up looks like a vampire about to take a bite out of someone. If you make one single move, I will bite him directly on the exterior shout tunnel. I will turn your son into a rainbow drinker. Then you will have a rainbow drinker son. That's not how troll vampirism works. Don't treat me like an imbecile. You think I don't know everything there is to know about your disgusting biology? Okay then. I will just break his fucking neck. Right. Listen to Kanaya. She's having a bad day. I'm having a bad week. I know you have never trusted Kanaya with any of the children in the past. Let that distrust be the instrument of your undoing. If any harm comes to us or Yiffy, or if you attempt to shoot us down or in any other way disable our escape, then you kill your son. Jane Crocker hesitates. This is something that she used to do regularly. Hesitate, stop and think, and weigh her options. Talk out every possible scenario and impact they might have, morally and optically and socially. What would the political apparatus think? What would her social media followers think? Her friends? As the years went by and she honed her instincts, she found herself doing this less and less. The impact that her words made became lessened when spread out across such a wide and thirsty audience, as public sentiment began to swing her away. She stopped thinking about how she would be received, and more about how she could play to the people she knew she would receive her favorably. Looking up, she sees Tavi with tears in his eyes. Rage and guilt surge inside her. The situation is not her fault. This situation is not my fault. You're coming here and accusing me of kidnapping your daughter when you're the one who kidnapped my son. So before you accuse me, take a look at yourself. I'm the only one who has taken any interest in her upbringing or education. Or have you forgotten who has been paying for her schooling and taking charge of her introduction into society? I never asked you to do that. You offered, so stop calling me ungrateful for not sucking your dick over things I never asked for. Jane pulls in a steadying breath. Behind her, she hears the click of cameras and the murmur of newscasters. The world is watching her be dressed down by a couple of blood traitor rebels, one of which has very prominent dog ears. Jane wonders if either of them are even recognizable to the assembled as two of the old gods. One of her PR managers had recommended that she keep her look as static as possible so that people can always recognize her as Jane Crocker, captain of industry, creator of Earthsea, maintainer of peace and plenty. She can't just stand here and let herself be humiliated, allowing two architects of the insurgency mess her around like this. If they were to kill Tavros, the entire world would see them commit this war crime, and weighed in the balance, Lalonde and Harley would be off the playing board. Saving your daughter certainly counted as a heroic death, and with the damage they'd done to humanity, it would also probably be just. Tavros has not called out for once. Tavros has not called out for her once. Perhaps he knows what her choice was always going to be. Tavi! Stand down! Do it, Jake English. Be a hero. Be a hero, Jake. Get out of my sight. Vriska Miriam Lalonde, recently Vrissy, and potentially you are so grounded you are never leaving the house again, isn't what's commonly referred to as an outside girl. She likes grass, it's fine to look at, and so are trees as long as they're somewhere off in the distance, swaying gently in the breeze. Trampling through them is not on the list of acceptable tree activities. Vrissy is already sweaty and dirt-streaked, and there's probably like 50 gnats trying to drink her eye fluids. At this rate, she almost envies Tavros as his role as the Batterwitch bait. Sure, he has to pretend to be threatened by Versy's mom, which is lame as hell and also very embarrassing, but at least his eye fluids are safe. Hey, can you slow down a little? I have to run over shrubs and shit. I can't fly. Huh? And whose fault is that? My shitty biology, I guess. Sorry, not all of us had scrub sessions to make ourselves immortal. Well, we'll take care of that. Don't even worry about it. Well, I wish. Miss Roxy was talking about coming up with some sort of autonomous flying device, but it got shot down by the council. What the fuck is that? A governing body, sort of. I'm not actually sure how much power they have, but with the Batter Witch seizing control of everything. But they were really against anybody who wasn't a creator being able to fly, since it's sort of a religious thing. Oh, well, that's fucking stupid. What good is a religion that stops your society from being able to advance? How could John even let this happen? Don't answer that. I know it's because he spent sweeps being a sweaty loser. But anyway, that wasn't what I meant. Sure, you could get a fucking jetpack or whatever, but ultimately, that isn't going to cut it. I had rocket boots that I used at the beginning of my session. Who didn't? That's Wiggler shit. You can't start to rely on tech. It breaks and enemies can sabotage it. Really, we have to get you to God tier. That's pretty much the only solution at this point. Ideally, we'd go back to when you were a Wiggler and start your training right away, but that's not exactly an option, so God tier it is. Is that even possible? Outside the game? Nope. But we don't have to worry about that once we get back into Scrub. What? We have to start the shit over again. You have all let it go so out of hand, there's really nothing to do besides a hard reset. Oh. How are you going to do that? I've got a plan. Look, up ahead. What? A scrub session? What? No, what the fuck? This is a perfect spot for a fight, an ambush point. Don't worry about it. That's good. That's what we're looking for. Who are we ambushing? Don't be stupid. We're the ones being ambushed. Ha! Your face is priceless. This is actually way more fun than I thought it would be. Bringing around a younger, dumber me. I think we're basically the same age. Whatever. Oh. Oh my god, did she literally want to be ambushed just so she could fucking fight more people? Oh, fuck. Finally. Vriska. Vriska's. Where are. Oh, fuck. Everything's fucked. Everything's fucked. Everything is so fucked. Everything is so goddamn fucked. Oh no. Ah. Oh no. Oh, John. Oof. Well, that hit hard. Car cat. I have also seen this design before because people fucking love it. So, of course, I've seen it before. Rough day, huh? Car cat? What are you doing here? It's nice to see you too. John, you may have noticed, but I'm the leader of an army. My place is on the battlefield. I suppose that is true, but that doesn't answer my question. This isn't a battlefield, it's just the obliterated, smoldering husk of your former home. Well, yeah. Which was destroyed as collateral in an ongoing military conflict. Oh, alright, fine. Just feels weird calling it that. I guess I'm used to thinking of home as somewhere far away from all that war stuff. Jesus Christ, John. I cannot even begin to list all the ways in which that constitutes a short-sighted and puke-worthy, ignorant thing to say to me personally. And frankly, I don't even have time to bother thanks to the countless fires I've been putting out all day, the one presently consuming your hive notwithstanding. You know what would have made things go a bit more smoothly? Just a fraction? If you hadn't just decided to wander off the instant shit started happening. Jeez, I'm sorry, Carcat. I had no idea how much time had passed. I must have gotten a bit distracted by my house being blown up. Not wanting to point out the obvious, but I feel like this was a problem that you of all people were uniquely and magically equipped to deal with. Huh? You know, with your shoosh thing. My shoosh thing? Your shoosh thing. The gusty nonsense, the gift of gas, your spurb-allocated blowjob. The supernatural communion you have with all things windy, you ass. Oh, right, that would have let me put out the fire, maybe. I don't think there's anything in my skill set that would have unexploded my house, though. That's fair. I suppose I'll add one more notch to the daily tally of crazy stuff that happened, which I just have to accept as my life now. So, what else happened when I was caught up watching the symbolic representation of my former life get consumed in a giant fireball? Oh boy, where to start? So, first off, in hindsight, today was a pretty obviously just one huge baited trap. I say in hindsight, but fortunately, it was also extremely apparent even in foresight to those of us who spent a few seconds thinking about it. Right. Oh, come on, Egbert, seriously? Kidnapping a person of importance only to let us know precisely where and on what occasion they would be most accessible for a rescue attempt. Having that occasion be none other than the corpse party of a highly noteworthy political figure whose casket might as well have had the giant kick me sign daubed on it. There was basically no way it wasn't a front for something huge, and it was. We happened to be sitting in front of one facet of that hugeness at this very moment. Well, when you put it like that, I guess we all got pranked pretty hard, huh? This is no time for your shitty nerd pranks, John. Frankly, I'm insulted that you think such a word is even remotely opposite to the present situation. Other than to describe the way I am personally being pranked by reality in having to explain all of this to you. Anyway, the rescue attempt. This is the only point where any semblance of good news comes into play, so savor it. Okay? It turns out we didn't need to put so much effort into the rescuing Yiffy part of the operation. She basically rescued herself when all was said and done. And took care of kicking Gamzee's corpse box over while she was at it, in a stunning display of efficiency which the rest of us can only aspire to. Oh, wow. I knew she'd be a bit of a character being Rose and Jade's daughter and all. But that's impressive. Sounds like she'd be a pretty welcome addition to your ranks then. She's a child, you moron. Oh, and speaking of which, pausing briefly to note in advance how much I loathe the fact that this is an eventuality that the universe has once again seen fit to curse us with. The Friskas. Plural. Shit. They've both been captured. Shit. Yeah. Great work keeping an eye on them, by the way. You literally had only one job and you messed it up in an equally singular way as it was possible to do. In the equally singular way it was possible to do. I know. Having said that, this was the one thing up Crocker's sleeve you could be excused from not having seen coming. I guess because on the face of it, it's just totally fucking bananas. Zane's plan for this conflict has thus far consisted almost entirely of kidnapping various high-profile children. It's bizarre, as though we are fighting a war of attrition where the main resource being utilized is the offspring of the most powerful people on the planet. If it wasn't one of the core tenets of her fascistic philosophy, I'd be tempted to say that curbing reproduction might have been a good idea, if only to prevent this kind of fuckshit nonsense from happening. Wait a minute, you said both Friskas have been captured, right? Excuse me, while I weep for joy at the revelation that you have been paying attention for once. Okay, well, putting that emotional outburst aside for a moment, how is that even possible? Doesn't Friska, the original Friska, still have her magic alien mind control powers? It seems like it should be basically impossible for anyone to kidnap her. You've stumbled ass backwards across the most important point of this unfortunate development. You are correct in that with her cast-typical, completely scientific and not even a little bit magical, psychomanipulative abilities, staying out of Crocker's reach should have been completely trivial for Circuit Prime. Even accounting for the fact that said abilities are not nearly as potent as on humans as they are on fellow trolls, they still ought to have tipped any altercation squarely in her favor. But somehow, it didn't. Instead, things appear to have gone globes up in classic Vriskite fashion, and now one of the most unexpected and unwanted but nevertheless useful weapons in our arsenal is doing time in Crocker Jail. That's about all we have been able to glean from tapping into the batter bitch airwaves, which is a fancy term for eavesdropping on those of her agents who talk a little too loudly in semi-public spaces. Jeez, I really screwed that up, didn't I? I'm relieved to see that your grasp of that fact is pretty good, at least. Having said all that, and with the recognition that I am choosing to nurse your bruised feelings during a planet-wide conflict for the fate of my species, is there anything I can do to expedite your getting the fuck over it? I don't really know. This all feels wrong, Karkat. No offense, but when you're around, it's usually a lot what? A lot funnier. Funnier. How to put this? Normally, listening to you go on and on about how much we fucked everything up is just very funny. But now it's just not the same. Maybe it's part of what's going on with his entire reality? I don't know. Once upon a time, I would have put down your ability to pull a silly rant out of your butt as a fundamental law of physics or something. Remember back when we first knew each other? Felt like all you ever said to me was how much you thought I was screwing up and being a useless asshole. And once I realized that you were also just a dumb kid who didn't know what was going on, I started to kind of enjoy it. But now it's like, the only one who's still a dumb kid is me, and everyone else has something big and important going on that I just don't understand. I thought that I finally got what was going on with this whole war and everything. I wanted to be useful. I guess I got a little too wrapped up in the feeling of something finally happening again. And watching it all blow up in my face, kind of literally now that I think about it, it's hard not to feel even more dejected about the situation than I was before. And now even the patented Karkat Vant rant has lost all its sparkle. Maybe if you painstakingly itemize a list of all the things wrong with my plan in a comedically overdone fashion or something. I considered it. But honestly, there was so much wrong that I concluded the best thing for everyone would be to never speak of it again. Oh, okay. For being honest, you didn't even have a plan, John. Calling it a plan would imply that it was a structured sequence of steps designed to achieve a goal. What you came up with was a convoluted mess which still somehow involved doing fuck all. And I used convoluted here in the same way that I would to describe the frenzied stick scribbles of a squalling human infant. Speaking of which, drawing a shitty picture with the ultimate plan at the top and a bunch of arrows does not, and to the best of my knowledge, has never constituted an actionable plan. Do not respond to this criticism with another miserable expression. I am begging you. Look, I appreciate that you seem to have dug your pan out of your own chute, the few micrometers necessary to notice the precise degree to which the world is being judiciously bat-fucked right now. As hard as it is to believe, that's a feat which no small number of people are completely incapable of doing. But noticing the problem and making meaningful progress towards solving it are two completely different things. The next time you get the impulse to lend a hand, you'd be better off canning it for 5 minutes and listening to those of us who've been trying to solve it a lot longer than you have. This isn't an exercise being conducted in order for you to prove your personal degree of moral rectitude. And if it was, you would have already failed miserably. So do yourself and everyone else a favor and stop treating it like one. Well, all right, if you say so, Carcat. I do say so, emphatically and at great volume. And now that my obligation to catechize you on the subject of your own life is fulfilled, I have a war to get back to. Wait, hold on. Oh my God, what now? You can't be leaving already. There's so much we still have to talk about. Of course I'm shitting leaving. What more could there possibly be for us to discuss? Please do not tell me you just had another emotion that we need to drop everything in order to dissect. No, that's not what I'm talking about at all. Carcat, we still haven't spoken about you. About me? Yes. About me? About you. What the fuck about me? Well, you know, how you feel. How I feel? Or just, I don't know. It's just been so long since we've seen each other. All sorts of things have happened in that time, and it doesn't feel right to just not even mention any of it. Like what? Oh, I don't know, Carcat. Literally everything. Literally anything. I mean, look at you. You were decked out in a tight bodysuit and have an eye patch and everything. There's simply no way there isn't something to discuss here. Or like, forget the eye patch. We don't have to talk about the eye patch. I feel as though my point still stands. There's basically a bottomless well full of stuff to go through. I mean, we kind of glossed over it when you brought her up earlier, but what about Yiffy? This might come across as easily due to human troll cultural bounds. This might not come across so easily due to human troll cultural boundaries, but her existing is kind of a big deal. I feel like somehow I missed the part where we all sit around and talk about how strange it is that two of our friends went off and had a secret child without any of us knowing. Is it too much to ask that we have that part now, Carcat? I mean, maybe it just doesn't mean that much to you. John, which is a little strange, given that it ties into the whole conflict that you had with Jade and Dave. Oh God, we have to talk about Dave. John, fucking hell, I don't want to talk about Dave. No, this is what I mean, Carcat. We have to talk about Dave. We need to talk about Dave. Like shit we do. I have no fucking clue how this is even a relevant topic of conversation. Oh, come on. There's no way you aren't feeling some kind of messed up about him, right? I know I am. Whenever I think about how things ended between you two, especially now that he's... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Carcat. Sorry doesn't even begin to cover it. This whole thing feels so impossibly sad. All I'm trying to say is, it's not healthy to bottle up these feelings and not acknowledge them, even if you aren't feeling them anything right now. And I don't believe for a moment that's true. I feel like I said every word in that sentence like 4 times. I need to talk about Dave. So can we please just talk about Dave for a moment? Fine. If it will get you to shut up about this topic for even a brief moment, then fine. Regardless of how pointless an exercise I consider it to be, I will discuss with you my feelings about Dave. Okay, thank you. Are you prepared to be inundated with none other than an uninterrupted spate of hard, unembellished data vis-a-vis my sweep-suppressed, biscuit-filled emotions on the Dave situation? Well, here goes. You want to know how I really feel about Dave? How I feel is that I wish everyone would stop fucking bothering me about him. Alright, so he and Jay got human married. Big deal. Do people forget that I was there? I feel like everyone is forgetting that I was literally invited to the occasion. I've even come to expect this kind of amnesiac behavior from everyone else, since I admit that I didn't exactly stick around or actually show my face for most of the ordeal, but you, Egbert, should have no fucking excuse. Wait, Carcat, that's not what So yeah! That whole thing happened, and I came to terms with whatever there was to come to terms with, which was fucking nothing, and then I got on with the actual important business of trying to prevent the world from crumbling, which, now that we're on the subject, is still fucking happening. I am utterly appalled that this is an info morsel I I keep having to spoon feed down your windshield every 5 seconds, John. I really am. I mean, holy shit. Now is not the time for this. And one thing I can say with absolute ironclad certainty is that if Dave were here, he would say the same thing. Speaking of which, where is Dave? I feel like if anyone could have prevented today from devolving into a headless clusterfuck, it would have been... Okay, maybe not him, but at least he might have helped drag you out of your depressive fugue a little sooner. Oh, shit. Not only that, but maybe with both of us here, we could have dispensed this entire store... We could have dispensed with this entire sorry topic once and for all, if only for your benefit. Oh, hi, Dave. John seems to be under the impression that the unspoken history between us is of sufficient import that we both need to hash it out this very second in front of the blasted remains of his home. Yo, Carcat, that does seem to be a strange thing for my best friend John to be concerned about, given that he has spent the past 5 years wallowing in the depths of his deepest divorce fever, and especially since Jade and I have meanwhile been working as part of your resistance with no complaints. But sure, we can bro fist each other and arrange our little limbs in an ambiguously platonic way, a way which also flawlessly calculated to communicate to everyone present here that the two guys who are totally and unequivocally over each other. Oh, God, you don't... That sounds like a great idea, Dave. And with that, maybe we can all wash our touch stumps of this whole ordeal and never have to speak of it again. Would you like that, John? Would that satisfy your craving for a catharsis on the subject of Dave? Well, why don't we try it then? In fact, why don't you call Dave and get him over here right now? Oh, my God. Maybe we should get Jade to come as well. And invite fucking everyone. Why not press pause on the race war for a moment and have one huge feelings-jammed lawn meal where we all publicly expatiate our various convoluted emotions. Forget peace talks. Get fucking Crocker to come. Maybe the sight of a Dave Cat reconciliation is the secret key to unlocking the part of her brain that stops her from being a genocidal racist bitch. How could we have possibly been so blind? If Gamzee wasn't dead, you still could have invited him as well. That's okay. We still have a veritable fuck menagerie of people we know who aren't dead. All of whom I am sure will be simply delighted to attend what will undoubtedly be the single most important event in Earthsea's bullshit history. If this is what it takes, Egbert, then I am prepared to do it. Don't think that I won't. If just for an instant it will get everyone off my case about this, I will stand up with Dave in front of the entire fucking world and solemnly vow that I do not give a shit. Carcat! Fuck this. It's just... Fuck, this is just too much. I thought you knew. Knew what? Dave's gone, Carcat. He's dead. I didn't mean for you to find out like this at all. I only heard about it yesterday, but I was convinced someone would have told you already. Apparently 1 minute he was there and the next... None of us even know how it happened. And it doesn't make any sense that he's dead, but he is. He is dead. And he's not coming back. Talk to me, Carcat, please. Please talk to me, Carcat. He didn't even say goodbye. Oh. Why did that actually just get me for a second? Oh, why did that get me so bad? Oh my God. Okay. The angst is at an all-time high in this story. Good Lord. Chapter 15. Okay, so there's this flower. Homestuck squared. Now demi-bi-monthly. Huh? You are all probably hells of wondering why I gathered you all here today. I am literally the only person here, but okay, I guess. Unless you count Jade, who we obviously aren't, seeing as how she is 25 nautical feet away and not even trying to pay attention to us. Just reading a book about maybe mushrooms or something. that could be seen by some as magical and whimsical, but is also somehow scientific. Glad to have you back, dog. Literal. Whatever happened there? Do we know what happened there? Dave? Do we want to know what happened there? Dave? Feels like it should be an important part of our daily lives. I mean, I get it. You get possessed by the embodiment of space or whatever, and then you threaten to eat some chocolate or peanut butter or perhaps some abominable combination of the two, and now you're back in control. No, that makes perfect sense. The boldness of peanut butter, the fresh taste of chocolate, together at last. Dave? That's me. I love Dave. I called you here to discuss a very important matter of extreme delicacy and privacy. I feel like I have to stress this once again. Jade is just right there. Not gonna come over here, huh? No, it's cool. Don't get up. I know Jake's shitty furniture pile is the most comfortable seat in the house. Wouldn't want to interrupt whatever important mushroom business you got going on. Say hi to shiitake for me. It's the only mushroom I know. Spit's falling apart fast. Back me up. There's toadstools? That's what I like to hear. Anyway, wow, it's just like in my video games. Only I wouldn't be caught dead playing that baby shit. I'm a serious gamer who demands a serious ancillary video game guy. Only the most grizzled and war-hardened men doing only the most upsettingly ludicrous maneuvers can whet my discerning appetite. Dave, my guy, gotta stay on task. Yeah, Roxy, get it together. I've had just about enough of your tangents. Have some pride, man. I'm out. Okay, you got me. Anyways, we need to talk about ship etiquette. Just gonna out and say it, huh? And you know what? It's about damn time. The absolute disrespect I get around here for just living my truest life, spitting only these hard truths, practically a bard saying hard sooths. This is unfair because you know I usually love your little raps. Little raps, he says. I know you're just trying to disrespect me from the heinous display of aggression you just dumped on me. Ship etiquette, like I don't know what you're trying to say to me. What kind of hapless rube do you take me for? To be honest, that makes this all kinds of easier. Look, we both know you don't need to be gay to see that Sasuke and Naruto love each other. That's just stone cold facts. You can't bait me like this. I know you know I can't resist talking about which anime boys kiss which anime boys, but that's not the kind of ship I'm talking about. It's actually a little incredible you jump there considering we live on a spaceship. But if this is how I need to frame this without you, if this is how I need to frame this with you, then yes, sure, a certain ship has gotten out of hand. Have no idea what you're talking about. Oh my god. Yeah. You know what? I think you do. I am getting sick and tired of Dave Cat. First of all, amazing that you named my relationship. Second of all, if I understand ship name vernacular, which of course I fucking do, pretty bold of you to assume I'm proverbially on top in this scenario. I actually don't want to hear about this. Too late, partner. You opened up the door. I'm just moseying on through. Yippee-ki-yay. No, yippee-ki-gay. This sucks. Why are you like this? My brain's fried on account of I just love to do homo kisses so much. I can't contain myself. Lamau, this bit won't work on me anymore. We get it. Hashtag love wins. You're both very cute and love each other very much. I just want to do my laundry without potential walking in on my two BFFs going whole assed ham on top of some socks every single time. Wow. And you're usually so supportive. I can't believe it. My own flesh and blood, my own brother slash father, homophobic. Well, actually. Oh, yikes, dark, wow. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he actually I'm out. No. Like in a real way. No, def not. He's just an asshole. Yeah. Right. Right. Now, you know I like to deflect as much as the next person, but I've had mad substantial character development in the last few minutes, so maybe I'm willing to entertain the notion that I may be in the wrong here. Oh, damn. For real? No, I've never been wrong in my entire life. But if it's important to you, I can rein it in. Practically a saint. Even though the only religions that really existed on this new earth we made was fucked up clown Catholicism and 69 troll Jesus, can't really call the Pope and ask to be sainted like back on real earth. Could you really? Yeah, that's how it worked. I don't believe you, but I don't know enough about religion to argue. It's okay, I'm making most of it up. The only god I know is the god of rhymes. In case it wasn't clear, I'm the god of rhymes. It's me. I thought you were a god of times. Amateur mistake. The letters are right next to each other. Even then, it's not like I'm using the time stuff much anymore. Not since. I saw you use your time powers earlier today to make a banana less brown. I've explained this over and over. You need to eat the banana before it goes bad. It's not bad, just ripe. This is fucking outrageous. Maybe if you stop slicing fruit with your sword all the time, you might understand the subtle intricacies of fruit science. Is fruit science just going apeshit on a practically moldy banana? Lol. Don't LMAO me. Lol. Like, I got time to be lectured by somebody who says lol. Barbaric. I come from a more civilized era. I drink my scotch as I sit before the mantle, having just returned from the hunt. A fire in the hearth, dwindling down just so. Ah, yes, Roxy, old bean, jolly good. I hold my pinky out as I sip from my chalice, because I'm not a fucking animal. You make some sort of unbelievable jest, and I say LOL, like a real person. Okay, Jake English. This is the most heinous thing you've ever said to me. There's something I gotta ask about you know who. Voldemort. No. Is it Voldemort? It's not Voldemort. You haven't mentioned wizards once this conversation, so I'm gonna have to assume it's Voldemort. It's about, Dirk. Okay, shoot. What do we do? What do you mean? When we catch up, what are we gonna do? Maybe this whole thing is kind of bullshit, and we are adults capable of being the people we need to be at the time it is appropriate to be that person? What do you mean? Okay, so there's this flower. Oh my god, not you two with the flower. I've heard this story like 5 times. Oh, okay, but you get it, right? The story is what you make it. And in that case, maybe we are assigning this cosmic importance to things that don't need metatextual meaning. I really don't think that's the point of the story, to be honest. Then what do you think it means? Brosen, I'm saying this with the utmost respect for you. It's not that deep. It's just a story. Then what about this? Do you think Dirk's right? Are we just a story that needs a villain? Are we heroes rescuing a damsel in distress? Or are we just people doing things that feel right at the time? Yeah, maybe this is just our arc. I don't think life is just a series of arcs. Well, to be fair, our lives have just been a series of arcs, and we are basically rushing off to save a damsel. Though, don't tell her I said that, Lamau. Of course, I want everyone to sort it out. Hunky-dory. But that's not what you're asking. But that's not what I'm asking. What I want to know is, do you think you can kill him if it comes to it? What the fuck was that? He probably found one of Callie's little gifts. Been seeing a lot more of them lately, which debunks his leading theory that they've been living in the vents. What? I can't believe he never told you. It's all he talks about. I told him it was kind of nuts, but you know how he can get. Well, I think since Jade's regular now, Callie's felt more comfortable being up and around. Before they were just in the room, nesting snug as a bug in a rug. Nesting? Yeah, like a bug in a rug. What is there to not get, Lamau? Well, they keep leaving Karkat little piles of meat, like a cat. Damn, that's adorbs. In his shoes at the foot of the bed. He's convinced it's to dunk on him in some way, but that's just very Carcat being Carcat. But in the fence, though? Yeah, I don't know, man. He's obsessed with it. For once in his life, he doesn't want to talk about it. Guess we'll never know. MSPA reader, no immediately. Yeah. Chapter 16, Welcome to My Secret Lair. Carcat stays for longer than John thought he would. They talk a bit, but mostly they are quiet. Eventually, Carcat gets called away on yet more important war business, leaving John with one final touch on the shoulder. John leans into it in response, though he's a bit ashamed of chasing down a sliver of physical affection so soon after obliterating Carcat's evening like he had. When Carcat is finally gone, John still doesn't move. It isn't as though he has nowhere else to go, since there are quite a few places he might attempt to make himself useful for better or for worse. He just doesn't feel ready for that yet. The remnants of his house are still smoldering, and he can't stop staring at them. It would make sense, he thinks, to want to root around through the rubble for anything that's so intact, some half-charred keepsake to claim as the last thing left that's still his. But he doesn't want to do it, and he doesn't want to think about it, and he still can't move. Hey, John, can you do me a quick solid? Actually, I don't know how quick it'll be, but it's definitely solid. Harry Anderson says I just missed you being here, but could you skip back on over? I need help with something, and your darling boy is holed up in his room, working on some fucking craft project or other, and can't be bothered. And now that me and you are freshly on speaking terms again, I might as well take advantage of that olive branch and put you to work. Assuming you haven't died in an air raid, that is. Which I'd also be interested in knowing about, so if you would be so kind as to reply instead of leaving me hanging. Yeah, sorry, I'm here. I just had a hard time getting my phone out of these fucking tiny pants. And also, my house is bombed out, so I'm kind of grappling with that. But I honestly am not sure how much longer I need to sit around staring at it, trying to align my memories of my youth with whatever is happening right now, so short version is no, I'm not dead, and yeah, I can come back over there and help you out. Oh, sweet, you're alive and down to do manual labor. It's a win-win. See you soon. What's up? Follow me. Well, we're just going to my room, so I guess technically you know the way. Okay. John follows, trying to shake the ominous feeling he got from what she just said. He'd been in and out of this house a lot in the past few days. Why should this be any different? It's not like I could forget. Yeah, I guess you only really saw the living room when you were here the other day, but I have changed some stuff up. Done a little redecorating here and there. May have to do a smidge more if my old BFF decides I'm next on the list for bombing out. But so far so good. Just a couple of exploded cars in the yard from some shenanigans our dear son and his friends were in, but you know, it is what it is. Can I get you anything? Just made some coffee. No, I'm good. Roxy shrugs and swirls her own coffee around in her novelty mug. John looks around. A lot about the room is the same. The family photos, the rug. There's a lot more cat stuff in here now, though. The bed is new. John feels like he's about to take a test he hasn't studied for. He makes himself focus on what she's saying. Suit yourself. I am of the opinion that it hits the fucking spot after a night of watching your friends and ex-friends duke it out in some global warfare, but to each his own. Yeah, maybe in a bit. I'm still sort of waiting for everything that's happened in the past few days to catch up with me, but I'm okay for now. So, anyway, what was this favor? Yo, why don't you just come here, rest your tush for a bit. Take a little relax next to me here. Roxy, I'm flattered, but I don't know if that's really the right step right now. Don't get me wrong, everything seems so fucked up right now that when I try to think about what might actually be the right step, Feels like a huge cartoon question mark might physically manifest over my head, but I'm not sure if rekindling our physical relationship is really the best. Are you kidding me right now, Egbert? I'm not? Unless you were, in which case, yeah, let's say I was also kidding. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I don't know why this is making me freak out. I remember our past boot knocking with fondness, but that is a situation I'm not interested in revisiting. Look, John, I was trying to be polite about it, offering you sustenance and rest and all, but you look like shit. I just wanted to catch up on the whole heinous war situation we're in and maybe check in on EO before leaping straight into the real, actual, non sexual manual labor favor I have in mind for you. Oh. John feels his soldier. John feels his shoulders unbunch. Of course, yeah. He's almost embarrassed by how relieved he feels. So what if his ex-wife wanted to hook up? Shouldn't that be a situation he could navigate? Don't people like to find solace in human physical connection during dire times? Why did the idea of it make his mind white out in panic more than, say, any number of the traumas he just experienced? He doesn't know, but he believes Roxy that he must look pretty haggard. He probably feels haggard. Maybe sitting down will feel better. Sorry. Like I said, my how to react to stuff meter is completely fucked right now. That's fair, bud. Real fast, I need to do a quick take back of all that shit I said last time we talked about Janie not being literally the most evil person we know or whatever. I guess I was hopped up on arguing or something since that was before we hit our conversational vibe, because of course you were right and I should have listened. I'm just glad you're okay. Or, like, alive. Yeah, jury's still out on okay, but, you know. Yeah. You said your house is gone? Yep, completely. Jeez. I would ask how you're feeling, but, like, the answer to that has to be pretty bad. Yeah. I mean, no. It's weird. Feels like it should be a bigger deal, I guess. Like, it's my house. But mostly it always felt like my dad's house. And when I started living there, after I moved out of here, it was like I crammed myself back into whatever was left of my kid self. And it didn't feel good, but it at least was familiar, you know? Like living there let me feel closer to my dad, trying to be like the way I remember him or like how I remember him wanting to be or something. And I didn't realize how much I hated doing that until I saw it all go up in flames. So I guess I could have used my powers to stop the fire and save whatever was left of the place, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Like some fucked up part of me was glad I got there too late. So I just sat there watching, trying to figure out why watching my house burn down felt like I was being released from prison. And even now, I keep trying to explain it away as though it's because of how fucked up everything else is that it made me feel good. But that's just bullshit. It did feel good. I do feel free. Sorry. No need to apologize. We just delved into my whole gender thing last time, so it seems fine for you to have a turn. I didn't say it was a gender thing. Well, no. I just meant, like, I did some sharing, like referring to the topic I brought up when we chatted last. But, like, now that you mention it, I. Well, we can move on to the favor part if you'd rather stick a little pin in that topic and come back to it when you've had some sleep. Like I said the other day, it's not like this shit's figure outable in one sitting, anyways. Yeah. So, moving on. Don't be mad, but there's a part of the house you didn't know about at the time you lived here. What? Yeah. I got a secret lair for my sciences, and I get it. I get to it via transportalizer underneath our bed, which is too heavy to move by my lonesome, so I just needed to borrow some of your aforementioned powers of wind. So, if you don't mind, wish away. Okay, well, a secret science lair. Sure, I can deal with that. Why not? It doesn't work out great when I do the windy thing indoors, though. Then no wind. Bending. Oh, then no wind bending, just use your man grit. Roxy flexes, the corner of her mouth pulled up into a familiar grin. John feels his guts, so recently calmed, twist up into knots again. Her eyebrows shoot up and the smile loosens. He must have shown something on his face. Okay, or just like push when I push? We both got sick muscles. No other adjectives necessary. Yeah, okay. On 3? Holy shit. Sorry to lop yet another huge scoop onto our little brains ice cream revelation sundae. So, wait, if this thing's always been under the bed, how do you get down here before without me? Well, that's neither here nor there, John. I mean, it is kinda here. Fine. Okay, checkmate. I don't actually need your nerd grit for this escapade. Like, I'm sorry, but I said it. I mostly just wanted to see you and show you what's down here. And also, you've been sent for. Okay, but like, John, I'm inviting you to my inner sanctum. I'm literally bringing out the word sanctum in case you weren't already clued into how cool this is. So do you want to go into my secret lair or what? Yeah. Yes, I guess. Good. Then, as they told me in the hospital before little H.A. was born, just push. See you downstairs. Disappear. Hey, Callie, I got him. Oh, damn, John, sorry. I should have also told you Callie's here. We've been hanging out again. One more freak for your bean. Oh, that's okay. My bean feels pretty well adjusted to freakage at this point, so keep them coming if you like. Okay, cool, I will. Do I get to know what that big thing under the sheet is? No. Oh, okay. Are you sure? I mean, it seems like a pretty prominent feature of the room, space, wherever we are. And a totally mysterious and completely inconspicuous feature it will have to remain for now. We're kind of in a hurry here, FYI, and by that I mean we are in precisely the amount of hurry that means I'm excused from having to A that specific cue right now. Right, sorry. I will pay no attention to the object behind the curtain. You catch on fast, Egbert. Anyway, there's more cool info coming, so just follow me. So, this is all downstairs? Seems like you had a lot of work done. Well, no, not exactly. We're in the old meteor. Under the house? Okay, so in hindsight, it may have been a bit misleading to say, like, downstairs, in reference to a place which is hells buried underground and may not actually be literally under the house, but there's no time to explain all that right now, John, so instead, I'm going to refer you to my adorable little green friend here. Hi, John. Long time no see. It's weird finally seeing Callie again, not like in some sort of like alternate predominating possessing someone else form. Oh, hi Callie. It sure has been a while, huh? Now that I think about it, the last time the three of us hang out like this was when I was aggressively third wheeling your prenuptial courtship. If you don't mind, John, I'd rather not rehash that period of our lives. It was more than a little painful for me. Oh. Jeez, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. John, I am only pulling your leg, don't worry. If anything, I was personally a little thrilled with how things shook out in that respect. Imagine, if you will, a young cherub raised in solitude whose only solace was the convoluted and tumultuous romantic schemata she projected onto her friends from another universe, and then further imagine that this young cherub, through various even more convoluted contrivances, ended up in the company of those selfsame friends as equal participant in their sphere of social discourse. It is a joy the like of which you cannot possibly fathom. So, to put it simply, getting to experience such emotional drama myself was an impossibly enriching experience. Possibly a first for my species. It's actually quite interesting if you... Oh, right. Yes, I'm getting a little carried away. Oh, I'm sorry. This is not how I planned to begin this vital conversation. But, to summarize, what I was trying to say is... Don't beat yourself up about it, John. Besides, human divorces are even more fascinating than I ever imagined, and being able to witness yours in motion was an honor. So I consider us about even at this point. Okay, well, that's good to know. So, I hear that there's this big secret thing you want to tell me about. Oh, right, yes, of course. Let me just say, first of all, how thrilled I am that you're on board. I wasn't sure if your natural inclinations would have precluded your coming to such a place as this, and yet here you are. This whole endeavor would be so much easier with your help. Oh, well, shucks. Not really sure what that means, but I'm just glad to be of use somewhere. Which, speaking of somewhere. Ah, right, you're probably a little curious as to where the dickens we are. How much do you know about black holes? Like the big space things? They aren't always big, actually, and in fact, their relative smallness is practically their defining quality. Oh. But, okay, I think we are on the same page. So, what if I told you that we are inside of a black hole right now? Um, like here? We just transportalize into a black hole? No, I mean, what if our whole world was inside a black hole? Okay. See, or at least our version of it has, from the moment we crossed the victory threshold, been inside a black hole. Okay. And not just any black hole, but the very black hole in which the green sun ultimately met its demise, allowing our victory in the first instance. Huh. Oh. ROFL my fucking AO, Egbert. Shush. But, paradoxically, the critical moment when determined its capture within the black hole happened after that point. I refer, of course, to your decision not to return to the medium and fight my brother. Wait, you mean the meat and candy thing? Oh my god, you mean I actually did make a mistake that day? Oh, well, that's not exactly what that. Ugh, I fucking knew it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I put Earth inside a black hole, everyone. John, listen. You have got to get out of this mindset. I am begging you. Your choice literally didn't matter. The whole thing was symbolic in the first place. Literally symbolic in the case of the picnic. I mean, come on. It was just some steak and a plate of candy suckers. Oh. I mean, I wouldn't go as so far as to say that the meal we shared was unimportant, given the sacred significance of the two options I presented. But yes, your choice of snack was infinitely less important than the choice which it presaged. And even then, calling it a choice would be sorely misleading. Think of it like a coin flip, the series of events that led us to being trapped beyond the event horizon of an uber-massive black hole could be considered tails, while the event which would have occurred otherwise would be considered heads. Since both were possible, and paradox space is the way it is, they actually both happened, and we just happened to get tails instead of heads. You mean we ended up with the bad possibility? Not at all. Since both possibilities depend on one another's existence, it really doesn't make sense to call them right or wrong. They both just are. Okay. I realize that this may be a lot to process. It's easy to forget that this wasn't obvious to everyone from the beginning. Anyway, the reason I went on this tangent in the first place was to explain that the space we are standing in right now has a special significance, and that it is the location which corresponds to the black hole's singularity. Oh, wow. Okay, so sorry if this is a dumb question to ask suddenly, but what does being inside of a black hole actually mean for us? Is that bad? Is it like in movie? Shoot. Roxy, what was that Matthew McConaughey movie from your Earth that we watched? You mean Interstellar? Right. The one with the organ. Man, I cried so much at that movie. Well, you can say that again. If I recall, at least part of why you got so weepy was the fact that you couldn't believe a version of Earth existed where people got to watch more McConaughey films than you. Listen, I simply don't think you all appreciated the gift you were given. I don't believe I'm familiar with this particular film. Oh, don't worry, Callie, you didn't miss much. But the important point is that no, it's not really an interstellar type situation here, Egbert. You're not going to enter a weird time vortex and change the trajectory of a little girl's life with the power of love. Ah. To go back to your original question, John, it's not strictly speaking bad for us to be inside of a black hole, much though that contradicts most of what anybody knows about them. Of course, if we had fallen into it, that would be a whole other kettle of fish. The tidal forces would have stretched us all into spaghetti and then ripped us apart. But the nature of our arrival was more akin to simply being here suddenly. One moment we were not, and the next moment we were, and somehow always had been. In everyday practical terms, being inside of a black hole has very little bearing on us. I mean, the nature of space and time is a little finicky in here, but for the most part, it doesn't seem to be anything too out of the ordinary. But beyond that, it means we are sealed away from the rest of existence. Our sphere of influence is limited to the sphere of the black hole's bounding horizon. As far as anyone else is concerned, we might as well not even exist. Is there no way we could let anyone know that we're in here? Almost certainly not. There are very few ways for anything to escape the kind of predicament that we are in right now. One of them is to be an all-powerful being with control over the very fabric of space, with the energy of 2 universes at your disposal, in which case escape would become rather trivial, if a little unscientific. Okay, I'm going to assume we can't just do that. You've hit the nail on the head, unfortunately. The method I described was one employed by my alternate self, who you may recall crashed through the event horizon in the body that once belonged to Jade Harley. She departed through a puncture she created in the black hole's surface shortly after consuming my brother, a deed of which provided her with the necessary oomph, and which was frankly rather breathtaking to watch. But upon her departure, the rift closed for good. As far as I can see, there's simply no way for us to communicate with the world outside the black hole. I would certainly be very surprised to find out that anyone had managed such a thing. Right. So, let me just get this straight. Knowing that we're inside of a black hole, does that actually change anything? Like, can't we just go on living like normal? Oh, absolutely not. I don't know if you've noticed, John, but this world is on the brink of a total cataclysm. Oh. Our exclusion from the overarching course of events which governs all reality means that our existence here is liable to dramatic and violent upheaval. To put it another way, because nothing here matters, we are likely to be subjected to things which are a bit bats in the belfry for no reason other than it's totally insignificant to the wider canon of reality. And much though I am personally titillated by some of the consequences of this predicament, it is a degrading way for us to live. That's certainly one way to put it, yeah. At first, I believed this was simply necessary. Us playing tails to our counterpart heads, the black to the white, and so forth. But over the years, I have come to the conclusion that this is simply not kosher. It's total BS is what it is. Right. Yes, a steaming pile of bullshit. And so, we have decided that something needs to be done about it. This is finally where you come in, Jegbert. We got quests for yous. Yes, or a quest, to be specific. Oh, boy. Oh, oh, he's excited. Oh, boy. This fucking nerd, I swear to God. I'm not sure how he can go about freeing us from a hellish space prison, but I'm up for giving it a try, I guess. I have literally nothing better to do at this point, except for maybe hanging out with Harry Anderson. Nice save, lol. But you don't need to worry about busting us out of space jail, to be honest. That's not your problem to fix. Oh. I'm not sure I follow then. I mean, yeah, you're gonna obs facilitate it in a sense, but only by going out and busting the person who can actually help us out of normal Earth jail. We need you to free Vriska from the clutches of our misguided friend Jane and bring her here to the singularity. We've been calling it the plot point. Yes, the plot point is a key part of our plan. That's so stupid. As far as we have been able to surmise, the only remaining method for escaping our grim confinement depends on leveraging the unique properties of this location to create an event of such cataclysmic proportions that it simply cannot be contained within the black hole anymore. Something so dramatic, so hyper-relevant that it becomes ontologically impossible for anyone to ignore it. For that, we need an individual of sufficient narrative clout, so to speak, and to liberate her, who better than the embodiment of the aspect of freedom itself? Phew. Okay, I'm finished. Sorry, that took longer than I expected to go through. What are you talking about, Kaz? That was great. I could listen to you plot explain for years. Oh, you. FYI, this was why I wanted you to get a move on egg bread, so Callie could have more time to info dump. That's love, bitch. Okay, well, I think I understood all that. In reality, John isn't sure what most of this means, but on balance, it feels okay. He's gone back and forth about 100 times in the last week about where his place in everything is, so he might as well ride this out. Plus, the last time Lalonde kind of told him to do something, he thinks that he chose not to, and look where that got him. And it's not like he has other plans. He may as well do this. It's at least going to get him involved in things again, if nothing else. He turns to go and then hears a sound. It's the sound of feet and knocking on doors, echoed through stone and digital static. Did you hear that? What? Oh, yeah, I may have messaged Rose and Ken and Jade to check on them too, so it's probs one of them showing up. They don't need to know about all this though. We got time to chat with them before you go get Vriska. I'll go stall them. Thanks, babe. Oh, is it too soon for that joke or? No, weirdly enough, that one's fine. Oh, good, okay. See you up there soon. We're done with that part. Obviously, we're not entirely done, but we've reached the Beyond Canon portion of Beyond Canon. That means we have officially ended the original 2019 to 2020 run of this series. Wow, that was not very long. There was not a whole lot of that. About 400 pages, and not a ton happened in those 400 pages. But yeah, I don't really understand why this seems so disliked. In fact, I understand even less than I did with the epilogues, because at least the epilogues was purposefully just very, very off-putting. It's written in a style that is a lot more reminiscent of the epilogues than of anything in Homestuck. Even things like using a third-person perspective to talk about characters, having full pages of just prose. A lot of things about it are still written in that style, but I don't think overall it's nearly as abrasive as the epilogues were. And maybe that's why I don't see quite as much discourse about it as I do its predecessor. But I do still see a lot of people shitting on it. Hi, Future Cody here, just to provide a small addendum on my thoughts at the end of this video. Because after around a week to digest things and read other opinions, I will admit that I understand much more why people are so fervently against this portion of the story. I learned a bit more about some of the tension in the fandom at the time, the tumultuous Hive Swap timeline, the poor relations between the writers and the fans, the snail's pace at which the story was progressing, just the general process of burning through goodwill. And although not directly related to the content itself, I can totally understand how some of the real world circumstances surrounding the franchise at the time could have left a bad taste in someone's mouth when trying to enjoy this. As for the story itself, I already briefly mentioned my hesitance regarding the epilogue style prose during the read through itself, but it was only after some time that I realized just how underwhelming many of those sections were. Many of the sections of long prose with no real imagery or narrative progression consisted of me almost rushing through them to try to get to the next good character moment or visual joke, like the parts that I actually liked about it. I excused much of the inconsistent and otherwise shoddy writing that was there sometimes because I still felt there was enough good to make up for it, but I can at least acknowledge that those problems do exist to a considerable extent. I think part of my overwhelmingly positive attitude about it stemmed from the juxtaposition between the awful things I had heard in fandom opinion on post-canon versus the largely fulfilling experience it has given me thus far. I genuinely think a lot of people criticize post-canon so harshly and unfairly. It feels like there's such a disrespect for the writer's intentionality, as if there could be no specific reasons for the choices they make, instead just acting as if they're a bunch of monkeys at a typewriter. This lack of desire to do post-canon the courtesy of any level of literary analysis is really frustrating to me. And it's why, even though there are valid criticisms that I agree with, I feel a much stronger need to counter these criticisms and shed light on the good things this story does rather than just the bad. So if it ever seems like I'm just always running defense for it, that's kind of why. Anyway, if I'm wrong and stupid, you can go ahead and tell me why I'm wrong and stupid, and I'll gladly have a conversation about it, because after all, it's just a webcomic. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here and let Past Cody take it from here. I don't feel like I want to make up some whole thesis about what it was trying to say or what it's trying to do. One, because a lot of it feels very obvious. Like the characters might as well just be turning to the camera and saying, hey, this is the meta-narrative meaning of the thing that we're doing in universe right now, which is one thing that I actually don't necessarily like about. I don't love that. I think like you can trust your readers to not be stupid. And I don't think that it's the most compelling thing to basically just spell out every little thing that you're trying to do with the story. So that's one genuine complaint I do have about it, is there was a lot of moments like that where it basically was a character being like, oh, wow, so you're telling me that this is like a metaphor for this meta thing that is happening outside of the story on the Homestuck website? Huh? And it's like, okay, I get it. I understand. You don't have to tell me straight up. I assume that a lot of the tendencies that this has been rolling with are going to continue on going forward. But I don't know, because it is an entirely new team now. And I know that they went into it with like a different sort of update structure, a different kind of writing philosophy. Like, I don't know any of the new stuff that happens, but I did read some of the like blog posts and stuff when it was first being revamped. And I remember seeing like various things along the lines of like, yeah, we're sort of taking it in a different direction from the old team. We're kind of taking some good things, leaving behind some of the bad. And so I don't know how much is being brought forward versus how much is being left behind. But I don't think that much needs to be left behind, because a lot of this was really solid. I don't know if like I'm in the minority for having that opinion, but like I really fucking like this, and I'm really glad that there's going to be more. So next session, we'll move on to whatever the next step in this journey is, I guess. Let's fucking go.